Call to tonight's meeting to order. Welcome to everybody for tonight's council meeting. It's great to see a large crowd in here to take part in city government. So roll call, please.
Brewster.
Here.
Walters.
Here.
Rardon.
Here.
Ewert. Here. Benner.
Here.
Parton.
Here.
Crum. Thompson.
Here.
All right, the invocation tonight will be given by Dave Vedder from West Haysville Baptist Church.
Let's pray. Our Father God, this is the season of the year when you fill our world with beauty and wonder. And Father, reminds us of the beauty and wonder of your great love, gives us a reason to celebrate. And Father, we're going to celebrate as a community this weekend when we hold our annual fall festival. We look forward to it. Pray that it'll be a very special time of celebration. Father, we pray that will bring us together as a community, enable us to strengthen our relationships with one another. Father, this evening we especially want to celebrate our mayor and the members of the city council. We thank you for the work that they do to help make our community a better place in which to live. We pray that you will help them in the decisions they make this evening. Pray that you will fill their hearts with your love and their minds with your wisdom, so that the decisions they make will be the decisions you want them to make, and that will be best for our community. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first up we have the presentation and approval of minutes. The minutes of September 9th, 2024. Councilman Benner.
I make a motion we approve the minutes of September 9, 2024 meeting.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from September 9th, 2024. Any discussion? Question, please.
Brewster.
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
Rardon.
Yes.
Ewert.
Yes.
Benner.
Yes.
Parton.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
All right, next we have item 1, public comment. First up, Dan Kaywood. So you have, for people talking tonight, you have 5 minutes, and we have a timekeeper up here in front. So if you could state your name and your address, please.
My name is Dan Kaywood. I live at 336 South Twin Pines. Council members, Mr. Kelsey, thank you. Kessler, I'm sorry. After receiving the original letter for the zoning adjustment to Lot 5, I noticed and saw corrections, and after discussions it was agreed that they needed corrected. Errors happen. Errors continue to happen. After receiving the, my wife had to stay in the hospital, and it's given me time to look at all of the codes and researches of the city of Haysville. Article 1, 101 is the purpose, which is to promote the health, morals, comfort, and general welfare of the citizens. E, protect property values. G, avoid undue concentration of traffic. That's a major issue here. 103, zoning, applies to all the buildings, structures, and the land, which in this case is Lot 5. Title 412 is heavy commercial, which principal uses are in accordance with the use chart in section 400. There's nothing in 400 listing large trucks or semis. There is a statement that would have to be approved as unconditional, or conditional, excuse me, not but conditional. So more or less, you have to approve it. The following items of concern have been brought forward and posted, have been brought forward on an approved petition, and it was submitted September 17th with 27% of the surrounding neighborhood signatures. On Orchard Acres approved this temporary permit. The zoning commission voted 3-2 with a tiebreaker from the chair, Mr. Anier, and he's. What it's stating here is that 38 semi-trucks can enter and exit 20 to 60 times a day, 7 days a week in this area. That's costly repairs to Blossom Avenue, which has not been updated and is still in basically a base stage, just light asphalt. Diesel noise from the trucks can produce, as I've researched, up to 100 decibels. 75 decibels is considered normal range for humans. Diesel oil and fuel leakage, it's a continual thing. It always does. They're diesels. I've owned diesels. No provisions have been provided for the employees in this general area, basically restaurants. No parking for the drivers' trucks or personal vehicles. There's no room on Blossom to put in anybody else's vehicles. Traffic congestion entering exit Broadway is without regard. It definitely is a bottleneck. Property value of the neighborhood will go down. You don't have to be an analyst to be able to realize that and see it and smell it. Addition of the sidewalk along the west side of Broadway, which is a great thing, will be impacted by people having to wait or diesel drivers making sure they look for small people in wheelchairs, etc. It's come to our attention that the architecture firm for Garcia Trucking has requested a return of this petition to the zoning commission for the hours to be, were too restrictive for them and want to start at 5 a.m. These hours place noise complaints back into unacceptable for the residents and do not meet city code as of per your zoning commission. That's why they were set for what they were the last meeting of the zoning at 9 o'clock. As a council, members and property owners, would you accept this change in your neighborhood or your backyard? In my case, it's my backyard. What rests in your hands is to override the zoning commission and deny the zoning adjustment per Title 101. The residents of Orchard Acres has the same rights as all the others down Meridian and all the other fine streets of Haysville. So this request by Garcia Trucking is not a proper fit for our area. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next we have item B, Richard Brown. Richard Brown. Okay. We'll go on to the next item, which is Shelley Palmer.
Could you not start my time until we pass out the packets?
Sure, you can pass it down.
Thank you.
You just hand it down, don't pass it down.
Sorry, Nikki, because she doesn't have one. Share.
Anybody not get one?
This over, those three, over there on the other
Oh,
side.
this is. We'll make
Welcome,
sure you get
please state your name and your address and you
Okay.
have 5 minutes.
My name is Shelley Palmer, and I own the preschool for the building at 1401 West Grand. My husband is Scott, Dr. Palmer, who owns the dentist's office next door. Am I speaking loud enough for everybody to hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, great. So we put in the Peachwood Early Learning Center 11 years ago, starting November 4th it opened. My memory on Facebook came up today of Tim Norton next to me as we cut the ribbon of my school. And I'm sorry if I don't get emotional. In the last 11 years, which in your packet is my 11 years of my income taxes for the school. The school has never made a profit. And on average, Scott at the dental office paid the electric bill, the gas bill, the water bill, and all the landscaping, which came to about $1,500 to $2,000 a month. He's done that for the last 11 years. On top of that, so that comes to about $18,000 a year in the utility bills for the school. Then we probably put in another $20,000 a year in times when there was like maybe a 3-month payroll. Or sometimes my teachers at my school, and that's not knowing, they would take their kids out of the school for the summer because they were off. After a while, we told them they couldn't do that. but there was a lot of learning and doing this preschool. So over the last 11 years, Scott and I have personally put in about $40,000 a year. Scott's retiring in 5 years. If we let the building sit empty, it will sit empty for about $55,000 a year. That's our property tax and our loan that we still owe on the building. What happened and why the school is in trouble is because there's a lot of things going on in the state government about childcare. It's a big issue. But we got a lot of people that don't understand childcare making decisions. We have to follow all the regulations of the state, which is KDHE. All right, so they started all these free programs. They started preschool. I totally agree. The education system should probably take over childcare too. And I've kind of been holding this, hoping that sooner or later the government would take over so that we could have safe childcare for children. Derby started a free program this year, so when our 11 kindergartners left, half of our group that was going to go into our pre-kindergarten class left to go to the Derby's free preschool program. So suddenly I was at $11,000 deficit very quickly last month. In the last 2 months, I've put in $10,000. I have a 3 payroll month this month. My payroll a month is an average of $35,000. That's $45,000 that I'm gonna have to come up with this month. I am bringing in $35,000, but as you can see, that's a $15,000 deficit to cover just payroll. That doesn't include any other things like maintenance, which last month our air conditioner stopped working. And because of the new Freon, we can no longer use that air conditioner because they're no longer making that Freon anymore. An estimate for a new air conditioner is $15,000. Did I see this coming? I kind of did. So I used a grant when they were giving out grants to daycares, and we put in a new exit out of one of our rooms. That exit, just that door and sidewalk, $13,000. Okay? So now we are in the process. We don't get any calls for preschool. I cannot accept children in a room if that age group is not licensed for that room. So currently I'm not enrolling any 4 or 5-year-olds. What I am getting calls for are infants and toddlers. I only have 1 room right now licensed for infants and toddlers. That's 4 infants and 4 toddlers. If you called around, you would find out that that's a 1-year waiting list. It'd be an infant. We have been approved by the fire marshal to now relicense our rooms. That has to go through KDHE. All the paperwork has been turned in. Now I just have to wait for the state to send it to the Sedgwick County office, where they will come down and measure the rooms and do a survey. That survey will then allow us to have a lot more infants and toddlers in our rooms and younger children, which is very needed in the town of Haysville and anywhere if you look around the state or the country. But right now, I'm doing a pledge drive with all my parents and my and all my staff, and I have challenged them to give me 6 weeks for each of them, give me $75 a week, which will give me the $25,000 I need to stay open until the state approves these changes. I know, but I'm going on. This is important. This is our children.
How much longer do you think you need?
2 minutes. Give me a little bit more. I'm getting there. Okay.
We're all voting over here for it. It all affects us.
So if I don't raise the $25,000 at the end of the month, which is going to cost me another $15,000 personally this month just to make my payroll. If I don't make up the $25,000 in pledges, Peachwood Early Learning Center will close at the end of this month because I can't afford to do more. I'm asking the city, I'm asking each of you as individuals to speak up for me and to also pledge. And I also want you to keep in mind that sooner or later, it's going to have to be looked at like the library, the recreation center, the pool. This is something that our people, our community needs so that parents can go to work. We need safe childcare. We need a place. My place has cameras. Every parent can go on at any time and they can look and see what their child is doing. I have the safest childcare in Sedgwick County, and you guys have it here in Haysville. Thank you. So, what I'm saying to you is at-home daycares are fine, and I will never say anything bad about them. There are good people out there doing it, but they're not accountable to anybody. And there are a lot of people that I have let go who have walked through my center because they were not safe to be around children. And you guys need to understand that. Understand the value of what we have. And it is a broken system because a business cannot make money doing childcare because you have to follow too many rules and too many regulations. And you also can't do it where you can make it affordable for parents. I'm one of the most expensive childcares, and I still have to subsidize it and have since it opened. In this packet is my tax statements. It's also wonderfully my insurance company that canceled me because they no longer want to cover childcares. Another reason why the city and government should take over, because you guys already have insurance and you can cover these facilities. Hopefully we will find something to cover that. I think optimistically. The other is the letter that I sent home with my parents, and the other is the pledge sheet, which I challenge all of you again. This is not something that you should just let go away. This is 37 families that will have to find new childcare, and this is 20 employees that will no longer have a job at the end of this month. So I really hope that you all take it seriously. Thank you.
So I appreciate you coming down, and I know I've talked to you a few times and corresponded through email, and I know it's one of the legislative platforms for the League of Kansas Municipalities. I know it's childcare is very important in our city and throughout our state. It's economic. I mean, just to the cities need it for economic development, because if people don't have places to childcare for their children, then it's hard for them to go out and work. I do know it's very important. I know I sent you a couple of emails, sent you another one today with some links as far as possible grants or loans, things like that. I don't know if that is useful or not, but I know you have also applied to be a nonprofit. Is that right?
I am a nonprofit.
Okay. Well,
And we are always applying for grants, but currently, right now, the grants that are coming down from the state are for new child care centers to be built, which, when you can't make any money, they're just throwing money at people. And for people that have had citations, that means they've gotten in trouble. My daycare has no complaints and no violations.
I appreciate you coming and telling your story. It's, definitely is it is a needed child care facility, in our community. So I thank you for coming, and I do hope this helps you raise the funds that you need.
I do too. It will be sad. I will actually close my doors 11 years actually almost to the day I opened.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Do they all need to stay, or can we quietly dismiss?
You can dismiss.
Okay.
Sure.
I opened with 4 children, and he came to Cody, get up there, she wants to introduce you. This is Cody Ross. Cody taught me a lot. Take care.
Wasn't it one of your first that came?
I had opened with 4 kids.
And I was one of the first.
Cody was one of them.
Cody, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Thank you for coming.
Yep, no problem.
Yeah, it's always heartbreaking when you hear stories like that.
Mhm.
All right, next we have item 2, approval of license and bonds. We have none. Item 3, introduction of ordinances and resolutions. A, an ordinance amending chapter 12, article 1, section 115 regarding certain malt or alcohol beverages consumption in certain city-owned facilities.
So we're bringing this ordinance to you. We'd like to basically expand the exempted areas that are currently in code. We'd like to add the gym at the activity center and also the walkway between the gym and the rental room to the exempted areas to allow for C&B or alcohol with approved special event permits.
Councilperson Parton?
Now, why do we need alcohol in the gym?
So I would let Rob expand on an event that he's planning, but he'd like to do a larger event, which would be better off to be in a larger area than just the rental room. He's considering doing a mom prom next February. So he's gonna go about it the other way, which would be quite an onerous process to go through, but if we can add it here, if council's agreeable to it, then it could be sent through like the other ones that we have now in the consent agenda. So it's just seeing what council's ideas or thoughts are on it.
Council have any questions? Councilman Walters?
Yeah, just a question on the gym. Would that be the entire gym and would there be not minors at that time, or how would that be?
Yeah, it'd be the entire gym, and it would be for times when the activity center is not open to other people. It'd just be for the specific events, and it could then open it up again for events like a Chamber Gold Star or other events like class reunions where generally they need a larger space. But the current event that we're looking at is the mom prom in February, if we can get this thing through.
I don't think it's gonna limit it, not with minors,
Do what?
because your areas now don't limit it to no minors.
I didn't hear what you said.
Your areas now don't limit it to no minors.
I thought the question was, would it limit people that aren't in the event? But if I misheard that, that's my
Yeah, you
fault.
said minors.
Okay.
The areas now do not limit minors, or they do limit minors?
You can have an event, you can have, say, a birthday party or graduation party in the rental room, and people can invite who they invite, and that could include minors. So,
Okay. And I guess there's some way to control that consumption then.
yeah, it'd be on the people that are running the event.
Okay.
You're laughing.
Any other questions for Will or Rob? What would council like to do? Councilperson Parton?
Make a motion, we approve it.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the ordinance amending chapter 12, article 1, section 115 regarding cereal malt or alcoholic beverage consumption in certain city-owned facilities. Any further discussion? Question, please.
Brewster,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
Burton,
Yes.
Ewart. No. Benner,
Yes.
Parton,
Yes.
Thompson.
No.
All right, next we have item B, a resolution of the governing body of Haysville, Kansas, adopting the Kansas Homeland Security Region G Hazard Mitigation Plan. Chief?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight you have before you a resolution that we need to adopt adopt the hazard mitigation plan. We do this every 5 years. If you remember, 5 years ago I was here doing this, and we did it 5 years before that. We basically revised the mitigation plan where we analyze hazards and things that may impact the Haysville or surrounding areas. We do this in conjunction with Sedgwick County. They do it for all the cities in the county. The reason it's important is once Sedgwick County gets all the cities to adopt the resolution, then they send it to the state, and the state brings everybody together in the state, so that way we can make sure that we're eligible for federal funding in the case of a disaster or other things that we try to mitigate that will, different projects that we may do to try to keep these hazards from affecting us later on. So that's why it's important, and I would stand for any questions that you may have. There's a memo in your packet that kind of explains it a little bit. And I'm
Council,
sure
have any
everybody
questions?
read the mitigation plan, which was 760-something pages, I think. So,
Oh, yeah, I
very long.
finished it this afternoon.
While you were walking.
While I was walking.
Councilperson Horton.
There's no question. I make a motion, we approve the resolution of adopting the Kansas Homeland Security Region G Hazard Mitigation Plan.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the resolution as presented. Any discussion? Question, please.
Brewster?
Yes.
Walters?
Yes.
Burton?
Yes.
Ewart? Yes. Benner?
Yes.
Horton?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, next we have item 4, notices and communications. A, governing body announcements. Any council members have any announcements? I have a couple. First one's the senior center announcements. Upcoming special events, commodities, October 16th at 1 p.m. New Healing Solutions Therapy Program, Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Line dancing, October 21st at 5 p.m. Mini golf, October 23rd from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Wild Lights outing, October 23rd at 6:15 p.m. Museum of World Treasures, October 24th at 9:30 a.m. Halloween party, October 25th at 6 p.m. Some of the recurring events have coffee, donuts, and conversation, dominoes, cards, writing craft, bingo, bunko, chair yoga, WSU well rep, Alzheimer's support group, and crafting club. For the hustle numbers for September of 2024, number of rides was 338 compared to 244 last year, and new registered riders was 8 compared to 10 last year. Also, another announcement, I attended the League of Kansas Municipalities this last weekend, and it was a lot of great workshops, and it was the most attended league conference since COVID. It was here in Wichita, so it was a great conference. A lot of great workshops. So just to brag a little bit, but you know, while there, I was voted to be a director to serve a 3-year term on the governing body for the league. And I just finished a 1-year term. I was finishing up somebody else's term last year, but now it's a 3-year term. And also voted to be the vice president of the Kansas League, for the Kansas Mayors Association for Kansas. So hopefully we'll do great things. So I'm looking forward to it. So. Councilman Walters.
Yes, congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Do you get any extra pay for that?
No.
Just a couple quick,
Zero.
sorry, I
You
was
got a double.
slow on the uptake there.
Yeah.
Just a couple quick from the historic district trick or treat on Main Street. I don't think I heard that discussed, but October 31st for everybody if they want to put that on the calendar, 4 to 6. So something that a lot of people come by. And of course, it's a little early, but I'll do mention the Village Christmas in our area over there on the other side of the tracks. So be considering that. I think it's just the first Saturday. There'll be more coming next council meeting.
All right, thank you. Any other announcements? All right, move on to item B, which is the Sedgwick County Fire Department Station 34 monthly report. It's in our packet, along with emails from Cox Communications. All right, next we have item 5, old business. We have none. Item 6, other business. A, consideration of TNT addition final plat.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. At the September 12th Planning Commission meeting, they reviewed and recommended for approval the final plat for the TNT addition. The applicant's agent is here to answer any questions. Otherwise, I'm just seeking approval for this final plat.
Councilperson Barton.
And that's just splitting it so that a second residence can be built, right?
Correct, and this is south of town in our area of influence, not in city limits.
Yeah.
Councilperson Barton.
No questions. I make a motion, we approve the final plat of the TNT addition as presented.
The motion is second to approve the final plat of the TNT addition. Any discussion? Question, please.
Brewster?
Yes.
Walters?
Yes.
Burton?
Yes.
Ewart? Yes. Benner?
Yes.
Horton?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
All right, next we have item D, consideration of conditional use permit recommendation.
Also, at the September 12th meeting, the Planning Commission approved a conditional use permit for a vehicle storage yard at the property located on the corner of Blossom and Broadway with the following conditions. The storage of inoperable vehicles is not allowed. The storage of RV, boats, cars, motorcycles, vehicle parts, miscellaneous items is not allowed. Operating hours are only allowed from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. No loading, unloading, transfers of trucks outside operating hours. The parking lot, asphalt or concrete is preferred. The applicant asked to use AS1. This product meets the definition for all-weather surface and would be allowed. A solid 8-foot wood or concrete screen is required on all sides of the property. No overnight sleepers or persons allowed to sleep on site in trucks. Trucks may not remain running after operating hours. The conditional use permit shall not exceed a 3-year duration. The applicant shall notify the planning department of the start of service. The applicant would have to apply for a new permit at the end of the 3-year period. Afterwards, an official protest petition was received. The petition gathered signatures from 26% of the notification area. Your packet also includes letters from Dan Kaywood at 336 South Twin Pines, stating reason they object to this use on this property. A second letter is also included from the agent that requests City Council to send this back to Planning Commission as the modified hours are not conducive for the applicant's business. The applicant's 2 to 3 year plan is to open a truck repair shop. This is an allowed use in heavy commercial. Conditional use permits follow the same procedure as rezoning. The governing body may take one of the following 3 actions: approve Planning Commission's recommendation by a supermajority, deny the Planning Commission's recommendation by 2/3, return the recommendation to the Planning Commission for additional review. Stand for any questions. I don't believe the applicant is here.
Let him start.
Do we know if the request to return the petition to Planning Commission was because so they could review it and try to come to some other consensus on the operating hours, or are they wanting to withdraw?
They're wanting to send it back for review because they have grain trucks. They have checked the hours for busing. That is one thing that was discussed at Planning Commission. They are requesting earlier hours so they can get out before traffic and get out of the way so there's not that bottleneck situation that they're worried about. So that's one of the things, is so they can have earlier operating hours.
Councilperson Martin,
I have a list.
you have a list.
Okay, so as far as their truck parking, where are they gonna park the vehicles? Because even in their map, they're not showing any place to park those vehicles. They can't park them in the middle because that's where the trucks are gonna pull around back in.
You're talking about the vehicles that the
Trucks-
drivers would presumably drive to work.
Right. Cause they have to get there somehow and they can't park on Blossom. I really have a problem with the fact Blossom's gonna get tore up because it's not meant for semis.
No.
And that's a lot of traffic, like Dan stated earlier, Mr. Kaywood, you know, that's a lot of traffic in and out of that area right there. And diesels, when it's extremely cold, they run 24 hours a day. I don't care what kind of diesel you got. Unless it's plugged in, it's running. You know, I know in the Planning Commission deals, they said that, you know, the AB3 or whatever it is, there's other places around there, but we're trying to bring up the Broadway corridor, not keep it at the same level. So I feel like asphalt or concrete would be better. I would prefer stone wall or all the way around, but now as far as restrooms, now when they're in the truck all day, even if they got stuff, they're getting crawl out of that truck and they're gonna need to use a restroom. So if there aren't restrooms there, what are they gonna do? They're gonna piss on the ground. How are they gonna take care of drainage? I saw nothing in any of that picture or map that they were drawing where they showed any drainage. No matter what you put there, whether it's the gravel or anything, it's gonna have drainage, and they're not supposed to drain any more than what they already have going off of there. traffic out. I realize it's not the only exit for that neighborhood, but that's still a major exit for that neighborhood. And it takes semis a lot longer to get out onto Broadway than what a car or van or truck would. So that's gonna back up traffic no matter what time it is. When they're pulling in, 36 foot, if there's a gate there, is not gonna cover getting that semi all the way in that, there to do the gate. So you're gonna be blocking the road to get in there. And I think that's all of that. So that was just my list.
Thank you. Center.
I'm coming to you from a place that I've had some personal experience with this. A few years ago, the other industrial park put a trucking company in. They operated out of there for a couple of years, and they were in my backyard, right across my fence. So I had diesel trucks running all night, 25 yards from my back door. But it was a much smaller lot. There was never more than 4 trucks on that lot. My concern is, and I know that one of the stipulations was that the trucks would not be allowed to run all night, but folks in the diesel truck industry in cold weather, they run all night. And one of my concerns about that is Garcia Trucking, according to their website, owns 17 trucks and employ about that many drivers. And the rest of the trucks are contractors. And a big part of their business is to contract with independent truckers to drive for them. Even if he could manage to convince all his own trucks and truck drivers to shut the engines off and they can't run after 8 o'clock at night, I don't know how we're gonna impress that upon contractors. I think it's kind of unrealistic to really expect that those trucks are not gonna be running at night. And if they are, the folks that live there are not gonna have anybody to call, because there's not gonna be anything that the police can do, and even if they could get a hold of the trucking company, there's not gonna be anything they can do either, because they don't have the keys to a contractor's truck. So we're gonna have that. Even if they were, even if it was enforced so we never had trucks running at night, you're still gonna have running all day. And I know they're calling it a storage yard, it's a staging area. That's the business, is that they run grain trucks and trucks with dry product in it all over the state. And as for drainage, I talked to the engineer. I know the engineer, and he told me that the drainage plan was to put a swale, to build a swale along the west edge of the property that would hopefully stop any drainage. It's not clearly shown on the drawing, but a swale, if you don't know, it's an inverted ditch. It's a little hill about so high. I think there's going to be drainage there. You can sit and look at the lot just with your naked eye, and you can see that Broadway's about 1.5 or 2 feet higher than the west side. So I think that regardless of what they put down on the ground, what kind of gravel or rock they put in, there's probably still always going to be drainage, and there's no plan to run that into the storm sewer. So even if the swale stops it, now we might have a standing water problem. So I'm not opposed to the trucking company. I'm not afraid of truckers being criminals or worse than anybody else. And I'm not even opposed to this kind of business, but I'm opposed to it in this place. I just think this is a bad spot for that kind of a parking lot to go.
Councilperson Parton?
Couple things I remembered. When they start firing up them trucks in the morning, whether it's 9 o'clock or 5 o'clock, you're gonna get the low hum of those trucks. And if you get 20 trucks doing it all at once, that is not gonna be pleasant for the neighborhood. And then you got the diesel fumes. I know they said there wouldn't be any pollution, but the diesel fumes from 20 trucks, the one running, are gonna be a problem. And that's just half of what they say they might have in there. So, and like Dan, I am opposed to it being in that area. I feel like we've got more of a heavy commercial area that it could go into, not just right there up against an established neighborhood. So.
Any other questions? Oh,
I have a comment, Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Martin, go ahead.
Okay, I also I agree with Dan and with Ms. Parton. This place is not a place for this type of a business. First of all, they're gonna the state rejected their drive off of Broadway, so they can't come in and out of there. They're gonna come on Blossom, okay? It's not gonna be very long after, if they build that and put them in there, then the city is gonna be at a huge expense of redoing Blossom so that the trucks can come in and out, because, I mean, let's face it, even on concrete, trucks that big to destroy roadways. And I, for one, do not see, I mean, like Mrs. Parton said, we have tried since 2011 to clean up South Broadway. I don't think that we need to have another truck business where they bring their trucks and like Dan said, you can give all the rules and regulations you want, but if they want to run them truck engines, they're going to run. And so I do not support this one bit.
Any other questions? Councilperson Ewert.
Have they talked to the city at all about what we're gonna do about our roads? Are they gonna help us repave our roads because of those semis?
The plan has I'm speaking out of turn, but it seems to me that the plan has kind of a big concrete, I don't know what you'd call it, an apron, a wider spot into the proposed entry into the lot there on the north side, is that
Yes.
correct?
Yeah, this lot is actually the last lot in that area to be developed, and there is a heavy commercial business that has access to Blossom as well on the north side. There was no plans at this time to put any of that upkeep of the road onto the last property being developed.
Any other questions from council? What would council like to do? There's a couple choices, either Councilperson Martin?
I make a motion, we deny the planning commission's recommendation.
Second.
So there's a motion and a second to deny the planning commission's recommendation. Any discussion? So I will be, since it's a governing body, I will be voting on this. And to deny it, I believe it's just 6 votes, is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Call please.
Brewster,
Yes.
Walters,
No.
Varden,
No.
So just to reiterate, this
I'm
is
sorry.
to deny
Let's do it,
the.
start over, please.
This
Yeah,
is
it's to deny.
I apologize. I wanted to vote no. I'm gonna vote yes because of the way it's worded.
Go ahead, call it, please.
Jimmy, start over, okay. Brewster,
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
Varden,
No.
Ewert,
Yes.
Mayor,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Parton,
Yes, I vote to deny.
Thompson.
Yes.
Okay, so the motion passes to deny the application. All right, next we have item C, consideration of Grand and Plaza Addition infrastructure improvements. Tony?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We had the bid opening for the infrastructure improvements to the Grand and Plaza Addition. It was held on October 9th. The engineer's estimate was just over $600,000. I've included the bid tab in your guys' packet. We are requesting authorization to accept the best bid from APAC Shears Division in the amount of $463,701.60. Stand for any questions you may have.
Council have any questions? Councilman Benner?
I make a motion, we authorize to accept the bid from APAC Shears Division in the amount of $463,701.60.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to approve the infrastructure improvements as presented for Grand and Plaza Addition. Any discussion? Question, please.
Brewster.
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
Rardon.
Yes.
Ewart.
Yes.
Benner.
Yes.
Harton.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
All right, next we have consideration of bids for Broadway and South Main sidewalks.
Good evening again. We also had a bid opening for the sidewalk projects on Broadway and South Main on October 8th. The engineer's estimate was just over $1 million. Included the bid tab and project maps in your packet. As a reminder, the Broadway project received the KDOT cost share grant, and the city will be responsible for 30% of the project costs. Substantial completion is tentatively scheduled for mid-June of 2025. We're requesting authorization to accept the best bid from Prado Construction in the amount of $615,299. And just to add to it, our 30% for Broadway and the Seneca portion will give us a grand total of just under $313,000. And we'll be reimbursed the 70% from KDOT.
So what would the council like to do? Any questions? Councilperson Parton?
Make a motion, we authorize to accept the best bid from Prado Construction in the amount of $615,299.
The motion is second to accept the bid as presented for the Broadway and South Main sidewalks. Any discussion? Question, please.
Brewster.
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
Rardon.
Yes.
Ewart.
Yes.
Benner.
Yes.
Harton.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes. Thank you.
All right, next we have item E, consideration of purchase of police department body cameras.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Before you, we have a proposal to replace some of the body worn cameras that our officers are currently wearing. Currently, we have 12 body cameras in the fleet of body cameras that we have. We've started to see some of those fail after they've been in service for several years, approximately 5 years. Some of them are getting old, some of them are wearing out. They are now out of warranty, so replacement of those, we would have to start spending money to replace them. After looking into it, it's probably more cost effective to go ahead and replace them with newer technology and newer cameras. At this point in time, we're looking at replacing 6 of those this year and probably 6 of those next year. So that's kind of our plan right now. We'll replace 6 and get those up and going, and then we'll replace 6 more beginning next year. So that's what we're looking at. We only went with one bid because we just replaced the server, and the server is the one that holds all the video for all of our patrol car cameras and all the body cameras currently. So to replace that infrastructure would have been a pretty big cost. So at this point, we're just looking to replace the body cameras from the same manufacturer since they're proprietary, and that's where they would go. So to replace those, the total cost for the update is $19,078.60 to WatchGuard, which is now Motorola. Motorola bought them out a couple of years ago. So that's what we are requesting approval for.
Councilman Walters?
A quick question, the patrol officers all wear body cam?
They do wear body cameras on patrol. We have a policy that says if they're on patrol, they have to wear body cameras. Certain times investigators have to wear body cameras, and then administration has to wear body cameras at times also. But all patrol officers have them on all the time. I'm sorry, they wear them all the time. They don't have them turned on all the time.
Okay.
I guess I have to specify that one to make sure.
Okay.
Any other questions for Chief? Councilman Walters?
So if there are no other questions, I make motion to accept the proposal to purchase the body cams for police department as listed, as noted.
Second.
The motion is second to purchase the police department body cameras as presented. Any further discussion? Question, please.
Brewster.
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
Rardon.
Yes.
Ewart.
Yes.
Benner.
Yes.
Harton.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have item F, consideration of community development block grant, CDBG, home rehab application items. Danielle?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The memo in your packet outlines the need to pre-select administration and risk assessment services for the CDBG Home Rehabilitation Grant application. The South Central Kansas Economic Development District, SCED, is the sole respondent for both services. Approval of SCED will also involve a sole source approval letter, which will be submitted to the Kansas Department of Commerce. So I'm seeking approval of SCED for administrative services and risk assessor inspection services, and to sign the sole service approval letter for this project to ensure timely and professional administration of the CDBG home rehabilitation grant application. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Council have any questions? Councilperson Parton.
If there's no questions, I make a motion that we approve the South Central Kansas Economic Development District SCAD as grant administrator and risk assessor / inspector for our CDBG housing grant application and to request SCAD to be approved as a sole service provider.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the Community Development Block Grant Home Rehab application. Any further discussion? Question, please.
Brewster.
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
Pardon.
Yes.
Ewert.
Yes.
Benner.
Yes.
Parton.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next we have item G, consideration of pool painting. It's not a pool painting night.
Yeah, we should,
That's what I was just thinking.
we should
We
have
should
a party.
combine this.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. From a recent inspection of the Duty Gunselman swimming pool, the interior of the pool is needing to be repainted, and it was last painted in 2020. We're looking to complete this project here this fall with cooler temperatures prior to the pool opening next year. After checking references, I'm recommending going with UMC to paint the interior of the pool for a total of $45,750, and this will be paid out of rec sales tax.
Councilperson Parton.
Is 4 years normal for having to paint it again?
Roughly, yeah, it was painted in 2020, 2016, 2011.
Okay.
Councilman Walters.
I assume this is a special type of paint for sealant and for leakage or whatever.
Yeah, we use the Sherman-Williams pool paint. It's not the Tennemic. No, not the Tennemic. We use the Sherman-Williams 347 pool paint. We'd be spending a lot more money if we used Tennemic.
Any other questions for Rob? What would council like to do? Councilman Benner.
Make a motion, we approve the painting of the pool for $45,750 UNC.
Second.
The motion and a second to approve the pool painting as presented. Any further discussion? Question, please.
Brewster.
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
Barton.
Yes.
Ewert.
Yes.
Benner.
Yes.
Parton.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
All right, next we have item H, consideration of installation of diving boards.
Last meeting, we approved the purchase of 2 diving boards and stands. We are needing these to be installed. After checking references, I'm recommending going with Donleer Construction to install the 1 meter and 3 meter diving boards and stands. This also includes the concrete base that is around the diving boards, and this will be paid out of rec sales tax. I stand for any questions.
Councilman Benner.
Do they have to bust up and dig up some concrete and then put new mounting features in there?
Yeah, it's a good 3 meters around, and then avoid all the drains and 2 or 3 feet down as well, underneath the diving boards.
Yeah, I bet that's a lot of strain.
There's a lot of concrete.
Yeah. Councilman Walters.
Yeah, I think that was my question. I guess it's embedded in that much concrete all around. Is that why they have to bust it all up?
Mhm.
Wow.
Councilman Walters.
Without any further questions, I make a motion that we approve the bid for installing new diving boards as presented.
We have a motion and a second to approve the bid for the installation of the diving boards. Any further discussion? Question, please.
Brewster.
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
Barton.
Yes.
Ewert.
Yes.
Benner.
Yes.
Parton.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks. Next, we have item 7, department reports. A, administrative services. Georgie.
As mentioned earlier, we have Trick or Treat on Main Street coming up on October 31st. It will be 4 to 6 p.m. along Main Street. So bring your kids or whoever wants to come out and walk around. There will be candy. Mayor will be handing out hot dogs and chips, and then also candy at the Vickers Building, along with many other businesses. Also, we have our Halloween yard decorating contest going on. You can enter online, and then voting will be online also, so that's all I have.
Thank you. Next, we have item B, city clerk, Angie.
City offices will be closed on November 11th for Veterans Day. Council will again be on a Tuesday next month, so we'll see you then. Some general voting information. Today was the last day to register to vote. Advanced mail ballots can be requested by calling the Sedgwick County Election Office, or you can download a PDF version from sedgwickcounty.org website, the election page. You can drop this off if you don't want to mail it in the nice little ballot box that we have on the west side of City Hall. You can access it through our drive. The Haysville Library is an early voting site. It will be open October 29th through November 1st from 10 to 6, on November 2nd from 9 to 1. There are additional locations and dates for early voting if those don't work for you. You can check those out also on Sedgwick County Elections website. Thank you.
Thank you, Angie. Next, we have police chief.
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. I just wanted to announce that we have our annual drug take back in conjunction with DEA. It'll take place on October 26th from 10 to 2 out here in the front of the police department. We'll do the drive-through again this year. Seems to work out pretty good, so hopefully the weather is good for us. Our visiting officer this evening is Officer Barbara Altier out there, so say hi to her as you go by out there. She is currently assigned to our day shift. And then finally, I know we've mentioned a couple activities going on with Halloween trunk or treats and things like that. Just make sure you're keeping an eye out for everybody out there walking, keep everybody safe. Sometimes kids get amped up on candy and want to run out into the street and run wherever, so just make sure you're being cognizant of that and slow down a little bit in neighborhoods and things like that. And the other side of that is if you're a kid or if you're an adult taking your kids out, make sure you're kind of watching for the traffic too, because we have people that forget how to drive, it seems like sometimes on nights like that. So just make sure we're all watching out for each other and let's keep everybody safe. So that's all I've got. Thanks.
Thank you, Chief. Next, we have Public Works. Tony?
Just a couple of project updates. The mill and overlay projects were completed today. They have a little bit of cleanup and then to get their equipment out of town. Crack sealing is about halfway done. They have about a week to 2 weeks left. So, thank you.
All right, thank you. Next, we have Recreation. Rob?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The youth basketball registration deadline is this Friday on October 18th. This weekend, October 18th to the 20th, will be our 40th annual Fall Festival in Riggs Park. On the 27th of October, we'll have our Spooktacular at the Haysville Activity Center from 3 to 5 p.m. and then Gobble Wobble 5K on November 9th. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next we have item 8, appointments. A, reappointment of planning commission members. And they are listed in your packet. Debbie Coleman, Mark Williams, and Brandon True, all for a 3-year term. Councilman Benner?
I make a motion that we reappoint Debbie Coleman, Mark Williams, and Brandon Trube to the planning commission.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to reappoint Debbie Coleman, Mark Williams, Brandon True for a 3-year term to the planning commission. Any discussion? Question, please.
Brewster?
Yes.
Walters? Yes. Rodden?
Yes.
Ewert?
Yes.
Benner?
Yes.
Parton?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
All right, next we have item B, reappointment of historic committee members. We have Brooke Azier, Wanda Gilmore, and Lynn Worrell, all for 3-year terms. Councilperson Parton?
I just want to ask, Wanda, are you up for 3 more years? Okay. She can make the motion.
Councilperson Ewert?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion, we go ahead and reappoint the following for the historic committee: Brooke Azier, Wanda Gilmer, and Lynn Morrell for a 3-year.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to reappoint those 3 members as presented. Any question? Any discussion? Question, please.
Brewster?
Yes.
Walters?
Sorry.
Was that a
Yes,
yes?
that's a yes. My Donald Duck impression.
Morgan,
Yes.
Ewart,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Harden,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Next, we have item C, reappointment of park board members. We have Ken Bell for a 2-year term. Councilperson Parton?
Make a motion, we appoint Ken Bell for another 2 years.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to reappoint Ken Bell for a 2-year term for the, on the park board. Any discussion? Question, please.
Brewster,
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
Harden,
Yes.
Ewart,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Harden,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
All right, next we have item D, appointment of Terry Gray to the park board for a 2-year term. Councilperson Parton?
Just out of curiosity, how many applications did we have?
6?
About 6 or so, about 6.
That's good. That's a good.
But yeah, we've had way more applications for boards than we, I mean, I used to be
I was
begging
pushing
people, and now we have a lot more. That's good.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to get applications for different spots, and, like senior center. So I was really glad, really appreciate all the people that did submit their applications. So it's great to see so many people, wanting to be involved in our community, and our park board.
Yeah.
Councilperson Parton.
Well, I make a motion, we approve Terry Gray to the park board then.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the appointment of Terry Gray to the park board for a 2-year term. Any discussion? Question, please.
Brewster,
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
Harden,
Yes.
Ewart,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Harden,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
All right, item 9, executive session. We have none scheduled. Item 10, review of expenditures. A, summary of September expenditures. Councilperson Ewart.
Yeah, I move to receive and file the September expenditures.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to receive and file the September expenditures. Any discussion? Question, please.
Brewster,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
Harden,
Yes.
Ewart,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Harden,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
All right, move on. Item 11, consent agenda. We have 3 items on the consent agenda. Councilman Thompson.
I'd like to make a motion, we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any discussion? Question, please.
Brewster,
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
Harden,
Yes.
Ewart,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Harden,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
All right, next we have item 12, council items. A, council concerns. Just a couple things, not concerns, but a couple things I wanted to mention. The sidewalk ribbon cutting today. It was a great turnout, so a lot of people were there, and it's great. It's great to see people in our community involved in that. I know there was a walking group that was there, so it's really great. We have, as you approved earlier, we have more sidewalk projects coming along, so it's great that we can do that. Also, as I mentioned, Veterans Day will be closed on the 11th, so just want to make sure everybody's invited. Everybody knows about the Veterans Day ceremony that's at the Veterans Memorial on the 11th month, 11th day, 11th year. Or, I'm sorry, 11th hour. So November 11th at 11 o'clock. Hope to see you there. Any council have any concerns?
Mr. Mayor, I have not a concern, I have a comment to make.
Sure, go ahead.
I have a little egg on my face, and I will admit it. I meant to vote yes on the conditional use permit. For whatever reason, I voted no. So that's on me, but I'm glad it went the way it went.
All right, thank you. Any other concerns? All right, moving to item B, council action request updates. Mike?
Provide an update on 6895 South Broadway. So we did post the violation to the city website and the newspaper, and we did receive communication from the property owner. They do plan on hiring a contractor to take care of those dead trees. And then on 261 North Sunnyside, the property owner did mow the front, but they did not address the rear property. They have a little bit more time before we schedule that for abatement. Thank you.
All right, thank you. That takes us to item 13, adjournment. Councilman Benner.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second?
We have motions and seconds to adjourn tonight's meeting. Any discussion? Question, please.
Brewster?
Yes.
Walters?
Yes.
Rarden?
Yes.
Ewert?
Yes.
Benner?
Yes.
Parton?
Yes,
Thompson?
Yes.
I think Bob was waiting.